Greetings brothers, with the buffs to Lightning Claws in 9th edition, today we're going to look at 5 Vanguard Veterans with Lightning Claws and Storm Shields against our 5-man throwaway Death Company, which we often talk about in the weekend stream, which is the 4 Chainswords and the 1 Thunderhammer. We'll find out exactly who's on top right now and why. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel. I'm John, and every week we go through multiple videos to make you a better Blood Angels player. If that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing. So, when this was brought up to me, it's been mentioned a few times now. I think the really interesting thing was when I actually dived into it, both these squads are exactly 140 points. So you have the 5 Vanguard Veterans, you give them the jump packs, you give them 1 Lightning Claw and a Storm Shield. That makes them 28 points per model. So 5 of them comes in exactly at 140. You take your 5 Death Company with a Chainsword and Bolt Pistol. They're 25 points each. And for 1 of them, you add the Thunderhammer. So that brings them in at 140 as well. And I've put both the profiles here on screen. And you can see the only real difference. Vanguard Veterans get a Sergeant, so I guess in some ways there's maybe an option there where you could include the Quake Bolt stratagem, but for right now we're just looking at Lightning Claws and Storm Shields. And then the Death Company obviously get that Black Rage rule, which gives them +1 attack when they're charging, and however it doesn't let them perform any actions and they cannot fall back. So while the extra attack is nice, there is a small drawback to being part of the Death Company and having the Black Rage. So we're going to go straight into survivability here, and our main 2 squads that we're going to talk about are the Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields colour-coded in orange, and our Death Company colour-coded in red. Now the Vanguard Veterans will have that 2+, 4+ invulnerable save due to the Storm Shield, and the Death Company will have their 3+ armour save, and then their 6+ feel no pain from Black Rage. What's important to note is that the Death Company can improve their feel no pain to 5 up for 2 CP if the squad is more than 5 guys, or 1 CP if it is less. And the numbers in orange here for the Death Company are if they have paid the CP cost for refusal to die. So as we look across the stats, and I've included some different weapons that we normally do here. I've included stuff like Storm Cannons, Multi-Meltas and Thunderhammers. These are much more common weapons in 9th edition. And I think you'll see here that basically the Vanguard Veterans are going to be more survivable in basically every case. There's the odd edge case where maybe the Death Company are more survivable if they've paid for the refusal to die, but if they don't pay for refusal to die, the Vanguard Veterans are actually more survivable in every situation. And you know, when you think about it logically, with a Storm Shield you would probably expect them to be more survivable, but I didn't expect the numbers to be quite as much as this. So it is around 20% in most cases. They are more survivable, and if you do pay that 1 CP or 2 CP potentially, you can bring the Death Company almost in line. I have also just included Vanguard Veterans with dual Lightning Claws because some people might want to see that. So they're on the slides as well. You can see the numbers, but we're not going to really focus on them. The comparison we're doing is Storm Shields plus Lightning Claws against the Chainsword 4 guys and then the Thunderhammer. I'm going to jump in with a quick edit and say I did the percentage for some of these numbers in my head, and while it is 20% in some cases it actually gets up to 70% more survivable for the Vanguard Veterans against the high AP weapons like Multi-Meltas and Plasmas. It's 60 or 70% more survivable for these guys. So then, to make this a really rounded and full comparison, what I thought we needed to do is we need to work out the number of attacks the Death Company get with Shock Assault added, and then also the number of attacks they get with Shock Assault and Savage Echoes. So they're the abbreviations in this next slide, SA and SE. And then we worked out the total damage the Death Company would do, and we've added some units here that you might expect to be on those backfield objectives, right? Because we always talk about dropping this 5-man Death Company in the opponent's backfield to make a charge and wipe out whatever they are on their objective. I always talk about how the Death Company are very good at shifting a squad of intercessors off an objective, and I guess you can see right here that with just Shock Assault active, they would do 7.78 damage against a squad of Marines, but if they had the Savage Echoes as well, then they actually do 11.26 damage. So I guess if you are charging your Death Company in turn 3 with the 4 Chainswords and the Thunderhammer into intercessor squad, you're going to wipe the entire squad, right? Like unless they're going to play something like transhuman, you know, the Death Company have enough firepower in melee we're not even factoring in the few bolter shots that they could potentially have as well. And then other interesting things here, I suppose, are like Orc Boys, Battle Sisters, Chaos Cultists. So you can see here before and after just how much damage the squad would be able to potentially do against all the different unit types, and with Savage Echoes and without. And then again, for the Lightning Claws, we've done the exact same thing. And also, I guess the bonus column on here is we have also included the double Lightning Claws option as well, if you wanted to sacrifice a bit of survivability. I believe we didn't mention this on the previous slide, but if you do take double Lightning Claws, you obviously are the least survivable because you just have that 3-up save and you have no feel, no pain either. Now, bearing in mind, I guess the double Lightning Claws will do the most damage, but if we just talk about a comparison about a survivable Death Company, because Death Company are kind of survivable with their Feel No Pain and the ability to buff it, and then a survivable Vanguard Veteran Squad with Lightning Claws, then we've worked out all the damage again, and I guess the only difference here would be that every point of damage in this table is with a Lightning Claw, whereas in the other table some of the damage would be from Chainswords and Thunderhammers, so it might not correlate 100% if you're killing like 1 wound units, but for the Lightning Claw damage it's always going to be 1 damage, so this is precisely how much damage they'll do against all those different options with the different armor saves. And again, if we look at the Infantry Marines, you know, the Lightning Claw with Storm Shield with just Savage Echoes is going to do 8.3 damage against an Intercessor squad. So again, if you had an Intercessor squad holding your backfield and they get charged by 5 Vanguard Veterans with Lightning Claws, you're going to kill 4 models and probably maybe take 1 wound off that last guy, and he's going to have to take a morale test with -4. So yeah, and I mean, if we move into Savage Echoes again, your Intercessor squad will 100% be dead against this. So this is why I don't really recommend, you know, in my streams, I never recommend holding backfield objectives with Intercessors, and this is exactly why. Like, I just think they're too easy to delete off an objective, and both 140 point squads will do that in 1 turn if you make your charge. And because this is in turn 3, something I say as well often on the stream is try and deep strike in turn 2, but deep strike into an obscuring position, and then make that 12-inch jump at the start of turn 3 and set yourself up like a really much easier charge than a 9-inch charge that you would normally have from arriving from deep strike. You know, like I've dropped into obscuring positions and then jumped forward and ended up having to make like a 5-inch charge. So for Blood Angels with their +1, it's just a roll of 4 and 2 dice. I mean, it's a very high probability charge you can do. So that's how I would recommend probably using both of these 2 squads, and you know, attack the enemy's backfield. Primaries are so expensive, or not expensive I guess, so important, and they give so many points in 9th edition. So if you have a squad that you know can attack a backfield objective, and if you see, in this situation, if you see Battle Sisters, Orc Boys, Chaos Cultists, even Intercessors, or I guess like Incursors, you know that you can jump in there and do a lot of damage to that squad, potentially wiping them in a single turn. So then we've taken the numbers from the previous slides and put them together in a comparison sheet here. So we've got the Death Company with a Shock Assault, Lightning Claws and Storm Shields with a Shock Assault, and then 2 Lightning Claws with a Shock Assault. And then the 3 tables again, or the 3 columns again, with Savage Echoes. What we've decided to do here is just ignore the 2 Lightning Claws from both comparisons. So if you want to run 2 Lightning Claws, go ahead, but I just put the numbers there so you can see them. But I'm talking in this video purely about comparing your 5-man Death Company against the 5-man Vanguard Veteran Squad. They're exactly the same points, so it's a really good comparison. Now, I guess if you look down the column, you'll see that I've put green numbers for the winners. So Death Company with Shock Assault win a few times. Vanguard Veterans actually win more, especially when you come up against those high toughness models, because obviously with Lightning Claws you get to reroll your wounds. So against high toughness you're generally going to do a little bit better. And then I guess once the Savage Echoes kicks in and the Death Company get those additional attacks as well, the Death Company are ahead overall, but remember the Vanguard Veterans were overall ahead in survivability. And yeah, so I mean, you can see here it's about a 10 or 15% improvement on damage, but I think the Vanguard Veterans were about a 10 or 20% improvement on survivability. Now, if you're getting any value out of this video, please hit the like button. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. And also, if you are going to run either of these squads or you're considering different weapon options, please leave me a comment below, because I do respond to every comment on this channel. So I think, having looked at this before someone brought this up in my live stream to compare, I was always running that 5-man death company. I felt like I got a lot of value out of that 5-man death company. And the numbers, as I show you, mean that we can kill, in turn 3, if it was against like Chaos Cultists, we would maybe kill 19 of them, and or we do 19 damage, and usually a cultist is like 10-man squad, right? So you would completely wipe the squad. Against Battle Sisters, you do 13 damage, you've wiped the squad. Against Orc Boys, you've done 17-ish damage. Maybe you've not wiped the squad, but like good luck with the leadership test unless they're going to pay the 2 CP for the auto-resolve. And even against those Marines, we're probably going to wipe a 5-man squad when we do a charge. And you know what? The Lightning Claws they're going to do just as well here. But I guess they do have some staying power. Like after you've killed that squad, then the Lightning Claws guys maybe take a few less SWAT losses. They can probably survive a round of shooting because they do have storm shields. If you can pile in after you've killed the squad into a defensible position, you have a 1-up save. I mean, you are more subjective to like mortal wounds, but the Lightning Claws option with the Storm Shields and the Vanguard Veterans, I just bought a box of Vanguard Veterans and I really think I might need to buy another box because me personally, I like my units to survive as long as possible. I always feel like a surviving unit can always do something. It can score you engage in all front points. It could score you like line breaker points. You can always jump to the middle with a single unit, a single model to hold like something for Oath of Moment. So those single models, if the squads do survive, are fine. And like if you think about what we're trying to achieve with this squad, right? This squad is literally trying to achieve clearing off a backfield objective. Can the Vanguard Veterans with Lightning Claws achieve what you want? And I think so. And I mean, like I said, if you come in against any high toughness armor stuff, they're actually going to do better. I guess just because of the rerolls. Maybe in some situations the Thunderhammer will power on and do better than Lightning Claws, but the Thunderhammer does have 1 less attack and it's only going to hit on 4, so it's a bit more swingy, right? You're going to get 2 or 3 Thunderhammer hits and maybe they're going to do well or maybe they're going to do not so well, but the Lightning Claws is like going to be weight of dice and maybe a little bit better overall. Now if you do want to charge the turn you arrive, then you can pay the 1 CP for Descent of the Angels to give you +1 to hit. I also did say you could take Quake Bolts on a Vanguard Veteran Sergeant, I guess drop his Storm Shield and then the squad would be like 4 points cheaper. And then, hang on to a bolt pistol to do that. I mean, the other option would be to give another unit in your army the Quake Bolts and use the synergy there between them. Heavy intercessors with those new 42-inch range rifles could be a very interesting option. And then, I mean, like, as I said, when we compare the two together, the Death Company seem to come in doing around, I'd say, like 15 to 20% more damage, but then the Vanguard Vets come in, 20% more survivable. So, I mean, it's really up to you, but I do think that, Vanguard Veterans, Lightning Claws, Storm Shields, are they as good as Death Company? I would say yes. Can they do the same role? Yes. So it's up to you. But I think if you have, in my armies recently, I've been playing Vanguard Veterans, Death Company, and Sanguinary Guard. So I mean, most people tend to go full Sanguinary Guard or 2 Sanguinary Guard, 1 Death Company, whereas I've done all 3. And I think this comparison shows that there's definite value in those Lightning Claws. And I guess having the exact same points, I mean, it's up to you if you want something that's going to survive more, and also you're not going to have to burn any CP to make them survivable, right? Like quite often with the Death Company you might want to burn some CP to give them that refusal to die. Well, the Vanguard Veterans are just going to be there, they're going to hang around a bit more, and obviously I guess against weapons that have like big AP problems, like multi-meltas or plasmas or anything else that's got -4 or above, then the Vanguard Veterans are going to at least just have that 50% chance to save. And I mean, you can also then have a priest, right? Like the Sanguinary Priest could be in range of the Vanguard Veterans, and then they become even more survivable. And I mean, that's kind of how everybody's rolling at the moment with the Sanguinary Priest. So I guess good positioning with the Sanguinary Priest, bringing them back to life, giving them that feel no pain as well. I think it's definitely an option for us. And then the final thing to mention about the comparison really was, there was a line in that comparison for infantry and toughness 5 infantry. And in the toughness 5 infantry, the Lightning Claws outperform the Death Company at both Savage Echoes and Shock Assault stages of the game. I mean, it is ever so slight, but remember, Death Guard do have that new -1, or Dreadnoughts as well would have the -1, so the -1 damage would actually kick in a little bit and make that difference a bit bigger. So I guess the main thing to really note here is that if we are going to end up fighting against units like Duty Eternal Dreadnoughts or Death Guard with their -1 disgustingly resilient, then the Lightning Claws are actually going to pull even further ahead in those situations. So yeah, it's a tough call, and I mean, I don't think there's a right answer, but I think now, if you have just been fully so focused on the Death Company, you're finding maybe they're not surviving as well as you need them to do in battle, then I would totally consider Vanguard Veterans. They are a very cool and fun kit to do. I am working on a bunch of them myself right now, but I do need to get more with Lightning Claws apparently, because they are a very points competitive option. So thanks very much for joining me this week. This was a little bit different, just a quick video to look at the two options that have been talked about a lot in my live chat. So yeah, we'll be back I'm sure pretty soon with another video, and I really hope to see you guys then. By the blood are we made, brothers. Peace.